So I will let some people start to tune in. I'm excited about today's podcast. How's it going? Thanks for joining. Thank you. Alright, so I'll get started. I know people are going to start to come in as we continue to push on, but this is Real Talk with Rideout, episode number 2. Today we've got Kevin Ellis. He was a former Sporting Kansas City, Chicago Fire, DC United player. I put right back, but he corrected me and said he was a center back. He started out as a right back. He'll be on for first 10-15 minutes of the podcast, and then he has some things to do, so Oliver Twelvetrees will be joining me after that for the remainder of the podcast. Oliver is a former NJCAA coach. He basically is the OG. He set the precedent for the NJCAA. He basically started the program I'm at, Barton, and became a national title contender consistently. And then he moved on to Eastern Florida State College, turned this program into a constant national title contender as well. This year they were national runners-up. And unfortunately, due to the COVID situation, they've shut their men's program down there, but Oliver's accepted the job at Colorado State Pueblo in Colorado, and that is a D2 school. So he will be taking over that program, and I assume he'll do what he's done in his last 2 programs and turn that around as well. So I'm very excited. Again, I'll let a few people come in as we go, and when Kevin joins us, we will get started. As far as today, again, if you're just joining, we've got Kevin Ellis. He is a former Sporting Kansas City, Chicago Fire, and DC United player. He was a Barton Community College player back in the day, played for Oliver Twelvetrees, who we will have on as well. And basically this podcast is going to be about stories in the junior college level. It'll be about pushing from junior college to professional and how to mature in junior college, and basically what benefits there are to taking these 2 years and seeing if you are good enough to push on as a pro. I think it goes without saying, if you know Oliver Twelvetrees, I have to say this will be my first podcast where there might be explicit content. Oliver is free-spoken, if I will, and the stories that we're going to have is going to be good fun, but there might be a few explicit words in there, so just want to let you know now. So let me see if I can get Kevin in on here, and we'll get started. Again, today's podcast will be Kevin Ellis. He is a former Sporting Kansas City, Chicago Fire, and DC United player. I put right back, but he's a center back. He corrected me on that. And following that'll be about 10-15 minute segment, and then Kevin's got some things to do, so we'll bring Oliver Twelvetrees on. Oliver is a NJCAA coach, one of the best in the business. He was at Barton, he was at Eastern Florida State, and now he is with Colorado State Pueblo. So without further ado, here is Kevin Ellis. Kevin, what's going on,
What's
mate?
up, buddy? How you doing?
I'm doing well. How are you?
I'm good. Can't complain.
Good. Staying safe?
Of course, man. How about you? How's the family?
Family's good. Arizona's a little different than Great Bend. I'm perfectly fine here. So as you know, there's not too many worries, but family's good.
No,
How about you?
of course. Good, man. I have 2 kids now. Kids are growing up, and actually enjoying the time being able to be with them.
Yeah. I mean, we'll kind of get into it on that. when I first met you, some kind of background on Kevin is I met Kevin when he played for my dad at Sporting Kansas City's youth academy, which was Kansas City Wizards at the time. Kevin was a striker at the time, scoring goals left and right. But under my dad, I think they built a connection that a lot of people saw, and Kevin really started to shine. Kevin started to see football IQ grow and grow, and then Kevin's had some things in his life that have made him strong-minded, and I think him maturing from when I first met him until now with 2 kids and a family is incredible. So you obviously went in junior college at Barton, and when you were in the Kansas City Wizards Academy, I felt that you were good enough to go pro right after. But I think one of the biggest things for you is going to Oliver and being able to mature for those 2 years. And so I kind of wanted you to touch on how junior college helped you grow into the pro that you were.
Yeah, I mean, like you said, I think that was huge, and something that I actually, everybody's dream is to make it to the professional level. And actually, I'll go back a little bit. I didn't ever think that I would or had the potential to be a professional athlete until your dad told me I did. So he was a huge reason, if not one of the biggest reasons that I started to take soccer seriously and thought that, hey, if a guy like that tells me, hey, you have the potential to do this for a living, he's one of those guys that you have to listen to. Having been around it and played at the highest levels, it started to change the way I thought about the game. It was fun, right? And I had a ton of fun doing it. Played, all my friends did it growing up, and so it was more of a hobby. And then, when Paul told me, sat me down and said, hey, you need to take this a little bit more serious, because you could do this. It really changed the way that I thought about the game. And like you said, starting to have those conversations with him, you could probably ask him. I started asking him a million questions because I wanted to know the ins and outs of games, the ins and outs of the position I was playing. Because like I said, if a guy like that tells you have the potential, he's not just saying it just to say it. And then, going to Barton was the best decision I made. And I think prepared me better for going pro after that than going pro after high school would have been. Like you said, I was a striker and I went through a position change. And going to Barton and playing for Twelvetrees, I mean, one, you're not going to find the majority of the time the level of coach he is at that level, right?
Yep.
For me, and going through the recruiting process and talking to a lot of these big D1 schools and all this other stuff, outside of, I just, and no disrespect to anybody else, you could tell right away that his soccer mind, his soccer IQ, and the things that he would be able to do for me were far beyond what any of those, I guess, big name schools would be able to do. So, I mean, it was huge. And going through that position change, I needed to get the reps, in, and going there and doing that afforded me less distractions.
Yep.
And more time to work on, at that time, what I viewed it as a craft. And I made some of the best friends of my life at that school, who I still talk to today.
You say less distractions, and we'll touch on that because, again, Great Bend, Kansas is, look, I was in a way worse place last year, so it's like a luxury to me, but to a lot of people it won't be. And so when you're coming to a junior college, I think you have to look at it in one of two ways. You're either going to come there to try to play some college soccer and keep going, or you're going to come there to grind for 2 years, put up and shut up, know that you're just going to focus straight on your grades and soccer and maturing. And if you take it as you did then you've got a bright future ahead of you if you see that route. So I think you said one thing that we'll touch on with Oliver, and that's his ability to be able to help players come into junior college and then mature them and then get them to the next level. And for Oliver, he's got a list of pros, and it doesn't mean MLS like yourself. There's USL, there's USL one, and so how I look at it is you played, and Barton was a top team when you played. So what was the level? Would you consider it a very high level at the time with other teams?
Yeah, look, like I said, no disrespect to any of those big schools or anything like that, but I'll put the team that I had at Barton up against any of those guys.
Mm-hmm.
Put the ball out there and we'll see what happens, right?
Mm-hmm.
But I'm more than confident that we'll more than hold our own.
See, this is the thing that a lot of people would eye roll at, and me being in a situation that I'm at Barton, I say it all the time. I was at UMKC, and they were by no means a big name school, but I guarantee right now that my team would give them a hell of a game, and I think it comes down to my players are all players that don't just want to go D1, they want to go pro, and they know that this is a foot in the door. A lot of them are internationals, where they come from professional academies and they didn't make it at 18, and so now they've got a chance to get their education and then go pro after 2 years. You're an exception, I think, because being an American and being so talented, and I mean, if you were at any Division I school, you would have been the guy, and it doesn't matter what level it is, but you went to Barton because of different circumstances, such as grades, such as finances, such as background. So the stepping stone, people view it as you're dropping down to a junior college, whereas I think it's right on par with those D1s, and that's going to get you to that next level.
Yeah, look, another guy that went to junior college was there the same time I was, Dom Dwyer. We played against each other, 2 years.
Yep.
And I guarantee you he'll say the same thing about his team at Tyler that I'm saying about my team at Barton.
Mm-hmm.
I think a lot of people discredit it, and I will be the first one to say I did in the beginning.
Yep.
And then, I mean,
because of stereotypes?
It's the stereotype of it's a junior college,
Yep.
right? And it's not a prestigious university with all the bells and whistles and all these things, right? And all the sponsorships and everything like that. So, and people discredit that. And my thing is like I said, the level for the most part doesn't drop off, right? Day in, day out of training that we had, I mean, was top level.
Yep.
A lot of it goes down to the coaching, right?
Of course.
If you're going the junior college route, you got to find the right place to be, and I think that's the difference when you think about D1 schools or junior college, is you have to find the right coach and the right place that fits you, right? Mm-hmm. And maybe in the beginning, Great Bend, Kansas didn't fit me, right? But the coach fit me, the team fit me, and then you get along with everything else, and then it became the right place because it offered the ability to not have all of the outside distractions of a huge campus, and you got to focus on your craft, and you got to focus on the things that you needed to focus on, or I needed to focus on.
Would you say that was the moment where you really set your sails on, I'm going to focus on just football and go pro? Is that where you switched the? Because I know when you were in Sporting Kansas City Wizards Academy, you were the guy, and everyone knew you were at that level. But there was a switch in you where you went from that Kevin Ellis to the guy that's a mature one that's going to come in every day and kill it, basically.
Yeah, I think it was the summer going into my first year at Barton. I had the opportunity of training with the first team of the Wizards throughout kind of the year, and in the summer when you don't have school, I got to train with them on a regular basis. And so being 18 years old and out there playing with professionals and guys who do this for a living, I became good friends with Davey Arnaud, and I remember he told me, like, we're not doing this for fun. This is our job. This is a livelihood for us now, right? So if you want to do this, I don't care if you're 18, I don't care if you're 35, you have to come out here with that mindset every single day
Yep.
that this is what you do for a living.
And that's something you taught me. I was a homegrown player, so you obviously always saw me in the summers training with the reserves, and that was honestly a blessing to me, and it was an honor. And some people saw it as that, but there was a few of us that went out there, and I obviously looked up to you and knew you as a friend, a family friend. But we would go out there, and in the locker room, it's great banter. You were always one that would crush me. You would crush me every single time you could in the right way, and I knew, okay, I'm going to get it every time. So I had to look over my shoulder. And the second we stepped off the pitch, it's the friendship there. And that was something that always stuck in my mind with you in specific, because we had that relationship off the field, but on the field, you didn't care who it was. And I think that's something that the mentality is, you were different than a lot of other people that say they can go pro. You had that it factor.
Yeah, and I think it's just a mindset, right? I mean, I made that decision, and I put all my chips in that basket,
Mm-hmm.
and I think I made the decision that no matter what, I'm gonna throw everything at this, and if it doesn't work, then at least I threw everything at it, and I had no regrets of any choices that I made or things that I missed out on to get, ultimately to my dream, which is playing in an MLS game for my hometown team.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So I'll finish with this. I'll let you go. But basically, you said you went from being a striker to turning into a right back at the time, center back, and your freshman year you got defensive player of the year, I think, and so would you say that coming into junior college as a top player, that gave you the confidence to continue to push on, getting those awards, being the man of junior college? Because for myself at UMKC my freshman year, I realized, okay, I got rookie of the year, I can continue to push on, and that was what the catalyst. And so do you think that junior college was your catalyst confidence wise?
Yeah, I mean, you can you could say that, yes, but I don't think that people are. I want everybody to understand the talent that was around me at that time, right? So it wasn't only that. I mean, yeah, I might have gotten the awards, but I didn't even feel, like I was even the best player on the team at the time, right? Like I did my job and what the guys needed to ask me, but the guys asked of me to do. But I mean, the coaching and the other guys around, I think being in a place where we had success gave me confidence, right?
Yeah.
Not only scoring a bunch of goals and doing those things, those will give you confidence no matter what. You can get that confidence like that from training, right? And if you talk to top players, you know, that's what they're looking for, right?
Mm-hmm.
Strikers are looking to score goals in training before games to get a rhythm, right?
Exactly.
And for me, I think what gave me the most confidence was being on a team and having success, but also knowing that there was an expectation of a level for me to maintain, but also having guys around me that push that level every training session, every game. Those guys push that level.
Mm-hmm. So basically, I mean, I'm trying to build that here as well, and I think when we started here as a brand new team, we had a lot of talent, but we had to find the basically everyone pushing each other to get to that common goal of going to the next level. And so, as you said, success is a catalyst, and we saw that this year. In 9 games, we didn't give up a goal, and that was something that we kept going with because of that success. But once we hit a loss, that kind of shuttered us a little bit. And so, did you have any of that kind of adversity when you were in junior college?
Um, I wouldn't say that, right? Just because I think again we knew the kind of team that we had. from day one. From the first, I remember I was coming off training, with the first team pretty hard before I came into preseason my first year, and I was kind of telling 12trees, I'm a little sore and tired, and he wanted to play a scrimmage game, and I had played a scrimmage game the day before with those guys, and he talked me in, and he said, you got to play in this game. So we played, and right away, I remember going to him after, and I called my parents too, and I was like, I mean, I didn't, like I said, I discredited the level, but then when I got there and from day one, I thought we could win a national championship
Yep. Yep.
from day one, and I told 12trees that, and at that moment I knew I made the right decision on a school.
Fair enough. Perfect. All right, man. Well, I don't want to take too much of your time, and I think that you hit so many things on the head, and I just want to kind of outline that your career from. I mean, we'll touch on professional when I get in it with 12trees, but you came from someone that was a top player, and you've matured into not only a top player in the pro level, but you've obviously turned into a role model, and you speak very well for a lot of my guys I know that are watching that you're going to be a role model moving forward. So I appreciate your time, man.
Thanks, man. Now everybody can jump off here before 12trees gets on.
Yeah, exactly. See you ugly man. Take care.
All right, bro. Talk to you later.
All right.
Bye.